Jai Gurudeva, Jai Shri Hari. Então, mais um episódio, agora aqui diretamente de Vrindavana, também em inglês. Espero que vocês gostem. So, just shifting the language.
I thought you were speaking Portuguese for a
Yeah,
second.
I will say what we do. So, today I have a big pleasure to host here a person that I can say that's one of my Kirtan legends and the person that I have a lot of appreciation. Govinda Prabhu, thank you for coming. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for having me.
So, your story in the Kirtana movement actually is one of the most unique ones. I can say because you are one of the few devotees that I have heard since when I was 10 years old, 9 years old, when my brothers, they came to India for the first time. They came and the first thing that they said to me, oh, there is a guy in Vrindavana and he plays Mridanga for Indra Prabhu. He's very hard, he's very strict. When you go to play to him, you must not do any mistake.
Uh-oh.
And I will tell you something, just before we start the interview. Actually, I came to Vrindavana really worried about Govinda. When I came to Vrindavana, I was 16, 17. I was really worried about you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then I remember that I was in the front of the temple taking darshan of Krishna Balarama. And you came and you gave him a nice hug and you said, welcome to the team. So, thank you very much for coming to my small podcast. We are just starting this project,
Okay.
which is called Sabios, dialogos, which means wise talk.
Okay.
So, just starting, I would like my first question to ask you, what brought you to Krishna consciousness and what brought you to Kirtan?
Wow. Okay. Well, a bit of a story of myself. I came to Krishna consciousness. I was born in Hungary, and I'm quite old, 56 now. So when I grew up, it was communist system, so socialism. Very popular nowadays in college kids. They have no idea. Anyway, and I thought life's problems are due to this political system, which was exploiting people. Instead of being equal to everyone, it was a same hierarchy. That's how people, the elites, were oppressing the working class. So same problems in a different package. And I thought I have to leave Hungary and get out of the Eastern Bloc, because I don't know if you know history. After Second World War, the European countries were divided between the U.S. and their allies. The Western countries, France, England, Spain, Germany, etc. And the Eastern Bloc, the Eastern European countries, were given to the Soviet Union. And suddenly Hungary became a communist country without anyone asking anybody. And I grew up in that gray and depressing, state of life.
Environment.
And wanted to get out of it. Hungarians have a lot of history of being oppressed. Small country, 10 million people, so they love freedom, and it didn't fit into their profile. And when I was 18, I got my passport, which was only valid for communist countries.
Wow.
Yeah. There was the so-called, what do you call it, the Iron Wall between the Eastern and the Western countries in Europe. And the Eastern countries, the communist countries, were completely isolated, and they didn't let any information get in there because they were afraid, to see how the people living in abundance. Back then, Europe was well-to-do. Then it would create a revolution, some kind, which actually happened 1956, and Czechoslovakia 1968, and so on and so on. But it was again broken by the Soviet army, tanks and stuff. So anyway, I got out of the country, and when I was 18, I got my passport. I went to Bulgaria, and from Bulgaria we went to Yugoslavia, who was like a neutral country, like Serbia and what else, Slovenia, and broken into so many countries now. And from there we escaped the border, went to Italy, and I was in Belgium, Italy, Germany, Austria.
Almost all over Europe.
Netherlands. Yeah, it was for 2 years. I was traveling. We were young, And we were living in the so-called, freedom. But it was just another type of, what Prabhupada calls it, wet stool and dry stool. Okay, so this side of the border, the stool was wet. So, you could say it's fresh. So It's just not as bad as dry. But after all, it's stool. And I was thinking, I'm not happy here either. What is going on? It's not due to politics that I'm not happy. Must be another reason. And then it came up with the idea, let's go to America. And when I was 20 years old, I migrated to America as a political refugee, which I wasn't really. And I got my green card and lived my life in America, in New York City. And somebody who's coming from Europe, dropped into New York City is really hellish. It's your culture, you somewhat sense control, but over there it's just like, let your hair loose. And
I remember my first time in New York. I went to the Union Square, and Ram Roy was doing Kirtan there, and he said to me, if you really want to stay in New York City, you must wake up before Mangal Artik, chant your 16 round, and then your consciousness can be above the materialistic energy that goes around here.
So I lived in New York for 10 years, and out of those 10 years, 7 years as a devotee. And in the middle of that madness, it always reminded me of the example of a lotus flower, sitting on water, but it's dry, it's not wet. So even though you're living in water, you're still dry. You're not touched or influenced, due to your Krishna consciousness. So anyway, I was, hungry. I didn't like because of the communism, the West. I didn't like because whatever it was. And finally, when I met the devotees.
Which year was that?
1991.
I was 1 year old. It's coming. Coming here.
I was 23. Full on swing, sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Horrible.
And I had, I was young and skinnier, and I was somewhat attractive, so many girls around, and I was into the music scene, and I knew all these bands. I was going to they knew, we were like close friends, so I was into the hip, circle in the hub of New York City. It's supposed to be influencing the whole world, not just the rest of America, but the whole world. And I was kind of like, materially speaking, I was living a very cool life, But again, deep down in my heart, I was unhappy. I was not satisfied, and I did not know why. I couldn't understand what is going on. I just knew this. No. This is not it. This is not like like a Mayavadi in 18. Not this. It's all illusion. And then I met the devotees on the street. His Mataji gives me a cup of halwa. And I said, what is this? He says, well, this is toasted semolina and butter and offered to the Lord with love and devotion. I was stoned all the time. And they gave me watermelon juice with mint leaves, and it was something really different. And it wasn't just because of the tastes of the exotic Indian cuisine or something, but because it was prasadam, and because there were devotees, and it was a different vibration. It was a different image. The auras were different, and their vibration consciousness was different. They looked different. They looked peaceful. They looked, kind and happy, and free from worry. And there I was with all my worries, and then the first book I got was second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Creation. So, and in my materialistic state of mind, I started reading all about the Pradhana and the Mahatattva and Garbhodakshaya Vishnu and Kshirodakshaya Vishnu and all these, and the poles, out of his poles emanating the universes, with Brahma with 4 heads and Shiva and all this, and it was like all this Sanskrit, all these Sanskrit terminologies, and the pradhan, the homogeneous substance, and then Vishnu impregnates it with his glands, and then the 3 modes of material nature start acting, and the progenitors of mankind come forward, and it just blew my mind. I mean, it was just like, I didn't understand what this is. so forth. And and I started reading Bhagavad Gita, and it's somewhat sounded like philosophy, somewhat it sounded like psychology, and I didn't understand how is this religion. But because I saw the devotees, I said something must be there, because they were happy. And I wasn't happy. I got girls, any girl I wanted. I got money, we had drugs, we had everything, the hip culture. And I'm not satisfied. Deep down in my heart, if you're honest, anybody, they tell themselves,
Yeah.
They lie to themselves, of course, because the ego, and so, then I was with the devotees, and for the first time in my life, I genuinely felt happiness. And that feeling, made me appreciate the devotees. And then I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. There's a way out of here. And they gave me, hope for life. Because I pretty much gave up hope. What's the use of all this? People become very cynical, nihilistic, hedonists. You just enjoy. There's no cause, no effect. There's no piety. What is good, what is bad. Just do whatever you want. Just enjoy. That's it.
Okay, but now you get in the really interesting point. As you said it's about the lotus, the dry lotus. You can say that, okay, my life was completely dry. I met the devotee, I met the Krishna consciousness, and somehow I became wet, I became alive. But at the same point, you were leaving aside all what what we can say like a self-enjoyment, sense enjoyment, engagement of the sense. It's a breaking culture for a guy of 20, 21 years old.
Well, my friends.
They must call you crazy.
My friends were
ungrounded.
They not that they call me crazy. They didn't understand what's happening. My nickname was the Hungarian pothead in New York City. Okay. They're like, putting the joint in my face, and I don't want it. They're like, what is going on with this guy? What is wrong? Is he suicidal? Is he heartbroken or lovesick, or what's happening? Something's not right. And I told them it's a Krishna consciousness, and I took some of my friends to the temple. They loved it. They took prasadam. They started coming for months, but actually they didn't have the adhikar, and it kind of faded out. But they liked it. So basically that's my story how I came to Krishna consciousness. And the first time they took me to the temple, I worked in a health food store. I was vegetarian already.
Mm-hmm.
And the devotees invited me, come to our Sunday feast. And I went to the New York Brooklyn temple for the first time, and I saw there was like 600, 800 people.
Wow.
Going back and forth, in this big room, big hall. And they were playing the drums and the cymbals, and they were chanting, and they were dancing. I mean, they were just ripping the shirts off, all these big black guys, and, they were playing the mridanga, and just what
With
Prabhu
the six-pack.
just what Prabhu was there, and all these Prabhupada disciples, and it was fire on, and it was like, this is a temple. Like I was thinking some church, you're going there. And you the echo in the church. No, it was like a party going on. It was a big party, joyous party, happy, Susukam Kartam Abhyam, joyously performed, And I got sucked into the kirtan, and I just in the beginning, Krishna gives us so much mercy. I was just immediately happy and smiled ear to ear, and I was dancing with everybody. And then I saw Radha Govinda, and they just blew my mind. How beautiful.
It was the first time that you had darshan of Krishna.
Yes.
Officially, like to see the image.
Well, personally.
And how was your first impression to see this
black
guy?
I saw Govinda's beautiful face, and he just filled my world. That's all I could see. And in the tumultuous kirtan, and the devotees are dancing and chanting, with so much power and so much enthusiasm, and it was just rocking and rock steady. Kirtan. Everybody's dancing, losing their minds, and it's like, wow, this is really something. Then I didn't need anything else. I was convinced. And then they gave me a big plate of Mahaprasada. I mean, one strike after another, and your mind was knocked out. Your materialistic mind was knocked out, and you were hooked. And, Prabhupada is very smart, Krishna is very smart, they know how to preach to the conditioned souls, through the tongue. Krishna Prasadam, Krishna Sankirtanam, and then you're hooked.
Game over.
And I joined the temple in August, and in October I was here in Vrindavana, 2 months later. And that's where I saw Aindra Prabhu first.
So you saw Indra Prabhu in October of
1991, yeah.
1991.
Yeah.
And when started your mridanga? When did you start to play mridanga?
Well, I started playing mridanga in New York, a temple. Pretty much the old school bro beats.
Doom, doom, tak, doom, doom, doom.
And and then I heard Aindra's tapes, and because I was from the first day, I was going out and distributed books, and used to go out on Harinam Sankirtan regularly. And the policy was that those who go out on steady book distribution throughout the year, that means every day, they get to go to Vrindavana or Mayapur festival once a year. The temple would send you. And I was in Vrindavan every year, and that's where I saw Aindra first time, and then I saw him in 92, and I saw him in 93, and 94, 95, every year. Every day I would see him. And the kirtan I heard there was so much more mystical and so much more, refined. A different taste. It was much deeper. There was a different approach to it. not just musically, but the bhav itself, the consciousness is much more refined, much more conscious, and much more controlled in the sense that like consciously done.
Sense of purity.
Like like in every young Bhakta Barfi, you go to the Kirtan and just
everything is good.
Hari Hari Bol, your belly's full of prasadam, pakoras, and Bhakta and Barfis, and you're happy and you're dancing and you're chanting the holy name. But when it came to Vrindavan and the way Aindra Prabhu performed Kirtan, it was very consciously done with a sole purpose of regaining his spiritual identity. And then you delve into the whole philosophy. What is the process? And Aindra Prabhu told me that when he came to Vrindavan, that's when his spiritual life started. So now Aindra came here. When did he came here? 74? 86, sorry. And he joined, I believe, 72 or something. Yeah. I could be wrong. So he 12 years or 14 years, he practiced Krishna consciousness. He had direct darshan of Radha and Krishna so many times told. And his spiritual life has not started. But it started when he came to Vrindavan. So he made that statement. But when I came to Vrindavan and, followed the lifestyle, spiritual lifestyle that he lived, I could understand. Yeah, this is different. Of course, it's Raganuga sadhana. I was not on the Raganuga sadhana level, but I could see someone is following that, and you get drops and driplets, and Aindra Prabhu called it appetizers. Mm-hmm. Appetizers, that from that appetizer your hunger will come. Okay. I asked him so many questions all the time about Raganuga Bhakti, and he didn't elaborately talk about it, and I understand why. Yes. Not because I was unqualified or something. It's just ask Keshudamana Prabhu. He's a funny devotee, Prabhupada disciple. He can be very funny sometimes. He's from Scotland.
So, but you come from this environment that first you were doing book distribution in New York City.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you see yourself here sitting in Vrindavana, doing kirtan and trying to emerge into some high subjects, which is like Raganuga Bhakti, which at that time I think we were talking about something like, like you could have all the reasons to be criticized or to be smashed or what is, like, I will give an example. Often, I remember once I was coming to Indra Prabhu's room, and he was quite angry. Then there was one devotee, Martanda.
Yeah.
And that time my English was very poor, so I couldn't understand properly what was going on. And then I came, then you passed by me, and you said, when these demons tries to come to Vrindavan, this is what happened. That's what I've understood. That some management, they were a bit struggling to go against the system of 24-hour kirtan, because in their mind it was like, how can you hold boys that is so qualified here playing mridanga, instead they could go to Delhi or to Mumbai or to Hyderabad and be preaching Krishna consciousness there. And Aindra Prabhu was very upset. And why he was upset? Because they were going like against the chanting of the holy names of Krishna. We are going against the sadhana.
And also, they didn't understand the whole picture, the big picture.
Yeah. So, my point is, imagine the reality of 1991, when you come here to Vrindavan, and you were a young, good brahmachari, good devotee that could be in New York City preaching, doing book distribution, and then suddenly you shift for a village in India, and keep playing Mridanga, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram.
Nobody believed me in New York that I'm going to make it in the temple.
Wow.
My whole life, I was underestimated.
Yeah.
I usually get that, and that's the best way, actually. When people underestimate you, very good. Let them be surprised. And if you fail, then...
Nice. I feel.
That's what I was expected to do, anyway. Anyway, so I just wanted to finish since I said Keshu Damana Prabhu, what is the Raganuga Bhakti, why Aindra is preaching all these things, and how and when. And so I asked Keshu Damana Prabhu, where do you start Raganuga Bhakti? At what stage of your devotional life? He says, you start it when you want to. When you come to the stage you want to, not before. Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami says, if anyone reads the esoteric pastimes of Radha and Krishna and is not qualified, he'll be simply boring to him. He'll turn the page and go back to his material stories. I mean, only the sahajas who try to exploit the situation and think themselves qualified will try to imitate someone on a higher platform, and they try to artificially, exhibit some symptoms
Of bhav.
of bhava, So, and we have, unfortunately, also in ISKCON, Prabhupada very much tried to guard against this sahaja philosophy and tendency. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, they never, they did not, I wouldn't say never, they did not approach Krishna consciousness from Raganuga Bhakti platform, Raganuga platform, but first establish Vaidhi Bhakti, and then you have a stronghold, a firm base where you don't fall down, and then gradually by the holy name, and Srila Prabhupada again and again stated that you will get everything from the holy name. If you artificially try to enter the Astakalya Leelas, just because you think or you make yourself believe, that means you're delusional. What does delusional means? You yourself believe the lie, that you're qualified. And that's the problem in most of the sahajas. They're not qualified, yet they themselves believe that they're qualified. That's the biggest problem.
But this is not also...
this actor John Cleese, famous?
Yeah.
He says he's a comedian. He says the problem with stupid people is that they don't know they're stupid because they're stupid.
Yeah. Makes sense. But this not makes the job a little bit more hard.
Huh?
For example, if you focus that, I wanted to understand what is Raganuga Bhakti, I wanted to give up the concept of Vaidhi Bhakti, and you just really understand that in Kali Yuga, Vaidhi Bhakti will not work because here we should be completely in the spontaneous mood with Radha and Krishna. And somehow it cannot make you to live in the bubble and just think that your reality, if I needed to achieve it, and you make it so distant that you will just be fighting for something that you might not achieve. It's not you were not putting yourself in a bubble, which is much easier. I will wake up, I will do my bhajan, I will read Bhagavad Gita, I will go around, I will do whatever I can, but at least I'm being sincere with myself.
Yeah. So it takes actually a lot of hard work, and like Keshu Damana Prabhu, you will start it when you want to. I mean, when you want to, that means you became qualified. And of course they say it's starting from Nishtha or after Nishtha. Other acharyas say even before, through an artha-nivriti. And Aindra Prabhu said, just like appetizers, like Srila Prabhupada gave us all his purports, the Bhaktivedanta purports. And they're explain the Krishna conscious philosophy according to rules and regulations and a philosophical platform. And when you're qualified, you will see it differently. You will see it, in the light of Radha and Krishna and their affairs, but if you're not qualified, you will not see it. Of course, he will give here and there just a taste, an appetizer, which will actually gradually evoke your hunger, and a little spark, a little spark of Krishna consciousness. And if you follow the the chanting process, that's the most important, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. This is the means to get there, and it will become the end. How do you say, the goal? The goal, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And everything is contained in the holy name. The holy name can give you your 4 Ekadasa Bhav, if there's nobody else to give you. It can reveal your spiritual identity and everything you want. That's what Prabhupada said. There's no need to externally try to practice something and many times artificially, take up something and start imagining things, and it's very dangerous. Very dangerous. And but at the same time, like I tell you something, you told me yesterday you asked me on the phone to
share a story.
Share the story about my dream with Prabhupada, and I was thinking about it. I can tell you the story now. So when I was distributing books in my early days, I think 1 year old in Krishna consciousness, and I was doing Massachusetts in the US. It's up north, next to Boston, right? Mm-hmm. It's a state where Boston is, and very cold in the winter. And I was distributing books in the parking lots, and it was cold. It was evening. It was dark, and the sun goes down at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, something like that. It's so depressing, and people just coming out of the parking lot means that cars are parking, people going to the store, and you come out of the store, they approach their car, that's when you hit them up. Excuse me, sir, excuse me, ma'am, like that. Before they get to the car, they try to sell them a book. And I'm not a good salesman. It was very difficult. And maybe 1 book, 2 books went out, some small books, and it wasn't happening. And it was cold, my fingers were, breaking in the cold weather. And, my mind was suffering because I wanted to, we hear so much about it, the classes back then, book distribution was preached, how important it is. We have to get the books out. This is what this is the thing that makes Prabhupada happy. And I loved Prabhupada. I came to Krishna consciousness because I loved him. And I whatever he said about everything, it was just like absolute truth to me. Any word he said was just gold.
No doubt, no question.
Yeah, flawless philosophy.
Flawless, yeah.
and I wanted to do what makes Prabhupada happy, and try to distribute the books, but I couldn't distribute the books, because I was pretty much useless, or I felt I was useless. But I was sincere, but I was useless, So I went to the Sankirtan van, where the Sankirtan leader, tall German devotee, he was reading Bhagavatam in a nice warm seat, heater on, and I said, Prabhu, it's not happening, it's really difficult, I am in tears, I just I don't know what to do. And he gave me the whole prep talk that, you're in the mental platform, and, get off the mental platform, forget about the mind, and blah, 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 get all this whole philosophy, and it didn't help me, much, so I get out there, and like I was in tears, and it wasn't happening. So that night, when I went to sleep, I had a dream with Prabhupada, and Prabhupada, I had to go down in the stairs to the bottom, that's where he was, and I walk up to him, and he embraced me, and he was tears coming from his eyes. He was crying.
That's sweet.
And he embraced me. I was like, wow, you just melted on the spot. I'm also crying. And that was the dream. And, later on, I was thinking, what was the dream about? And I understood that Srila Prabhupada was happy of me trying to distribute books, even though it's not happening. What's the word? Karma devarikaraste, mapaleshu kadachana. You have the right to perform your prescribed duties,
But you don't have.
but you're not entitled to the fruits of action. So Krishna is the doer. You just do your duty. The spiritual master gives you your task, your service, and you perform it. Whether it's successful or not successful is not up to you. You do your best. Krishna will give the result. And many times this book distribution was basically, of course, for preaching, but basically was for those who already came into the camp. Krishna wanted to purify them so they will stay, because book distribution forms character, Krishna conscious character. You be steady, Arjuna, fight, whether sick or health or summer, winter. Don't care about the external circumstances. Take up your duty, put on the instruction of the spiritual master on your head, and go. What did Arjuna see?
The
Dronacharya asked him. He asked all the students, "What do you see?" "Well, I see the bird." "You see the tree?" "I see the tree." "You see the bird?" "Yes." "You see the eye?" "Yes." And we ask Arjuna, "You see the tree?" "No, I don't see the tree." And you see the bird? "I don't see the bird." So what do you see? "I see the eye of the bird and nothing else." So when you have that consciousness and you do that, that's basic philosophy. Now, I just wanted to, because I was thinking about this. And the one first time with Aindra Prabhu only met Srila Prabhupada twice. And Prabhupada only said one word personally to Aindra, right?
Jai.
Jai. So, Indra Prabhu took it as a Prabhupada's appreciation for him performing Sankirtan. So,
But imagine, this is a beautiful thing. Because when we talk about a devotee, we talk about vivasya-atmika buddhi rekeha kuranandana. We talk about a single-pointed mind. One word.
One-pointed determination.
Jai.
Yeah,
Is enough.
That's it.
How many devotees have been with Prabhupada 24 hours and they didn't do?
Yeah.
But one Jai is enough. But also you should be willing to receive the grace.
Yes.
Because if the devotee has not that willingness to receive the grace, the Guru can tell 100 times and the devotee will never listen.
You might have Sadguru, but if yourself you're not a Sat Shishya, a pure disciple, then everything just will pass by you. And
you were one of the Aindra's man. You were the ones that was there, I think, I can say 8 months a year, 10 months a year. You were here, you used to be.
I mean, the first 5 years I was here every day.
Every day.
Years, yeah.
How many instructions did Indra Prabhu give to you?
I don't know. Probably.
Some. But you still keep doing. Why you still here in Vrindavana? Why you still serving? Why you still doing
Kirtan? Instructions, then didn't follow.
That's the best example of single-pointed mind.
Yeah,
because you believe.
I mean,
if you would not believe into what you had received from him.
And this is my point I wanted to say. So why did that happen? Because he touched my heart.
Jai.
He touched my heart, and I told you this story, and the story of this, it's this is the dry philosophy. You have the right to perform your prescribed duties. Bhagavad Gita, dry philosophy basically. Don't be attached to the results. It's up to Krishna, but this is not going to touch your heart. When Prabhupada embraces you with tears in his eyes, that touches your heart. And in relation to this story, Aindra told me a story which the same realization, and actually this realization I got from Aindra Prabhu, related to my story. When the second time he met Srila Prabhupada personally, when Prabhupada came to, I believe, New York temple, whatever temple, and he was distributing, he was giving his darshan, and there was hundreds of devotees, and he was distributing cookies to everybody. So he had like 2 big trays of cookies. And Aindra was there in the front row, and Prabhupada, his hand was here on Prabhupada's lap. And Prabhupada was a big smile, he was giving out a cookie to this, and all the brahmacharis they're like pushing each other, for me, Prabhupada, cookie from your lotus hand. And a big kirtan going. So, first tray was gone without Aindra getting a cookie, and he was like tracking the first person. And then, anyway, whatever. The second tray coming, and it's becoming less and less, and Aindra's anxiety becomes more and more. And the cookie is less and less, and no anxiety more and more. What's going on, Prabhupada? I cannot believe he doesn't see I'm here. My hands are practically lying on his lap, and he's not giving me a cookie. He's not even looking at me. What is going on? All kind of thoughts going through his mind, And then Prabhupada is 10 cookies left. Now, Indra told me this story. 10 cookies left. 8 cookies left. 5 cookies left. And Indra's like,
Where's my cookie?
and it's like 2 cookies left. 1 cookie is left. 0 cookies left. I didn't get a cookie. And Indra's like almost like in tears. What's Prabhupada? Why? I don't believe that you don't. You cannot see me. And then Prabhupada picked up this rose and he threw it in his face with his big smile in it. and he says, I understood, that Prabhupada wasn't just, the official spiritual master who gives out the cookies to the disciples and then, and then rolls down the front door and goes about his business. No, actually, it was a very personal relationship with his disciples. And he had that, he was playing a prank on Indra. It was a very, very personal relationship. And same idea. Like Prabhupada, it wasn't not just the dry philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita, but this is the interactions which will, touch your heart, which actually will keep you going and be enthuse you. And this is the basis of, if you want to talk about Rag Bhajan, this will give you impetus and something to aspire for and be inspired by.
It's so beautiful and so pleasant to listen. One of the points that also I would like to ask you. You see, Guruji Swami Vishwananda, he always says that one of the main qualities of a devotee that you see joy on his face. And whatever he's doing, he's practicing, his sadhana, whatever kind of relationship he has with Krishna, the eyes will tell that, like, I'm happy doing it. And we could see it clearly on Aindra Prabhu. I remember, like, we could see his face and his smile and how his eyes was always, like, shining. And, like, he was always walking with that smell of sandal coming from him. And he was...
Sandal mixed with hing.
Yeah. But we could see that he was really there. And what is the point that you, in all these years that you have been in a relationship with him and have been close to him, why do you think that it was so difficult for others to understand him?
I don't know. I don't want to think or talk about other people's shortcomings. There's just too much. Too many of them. I want to focus, on something positive. I think there's too much negativity in the world, as it is, and sometimes it's even hard to see the good. There's so much politics going on in the ISKCON movement. Like I said, it's a big ocean of neophytes, and of course there's good devotees, some advanced devotees, but mostly is neophytes and neophytes and neophytes. And you can go on and talk about, all day about the anarthas of this person and that person, but it's not gonna help anyone. You know what I'm saying? Indra Prabhu wrote a whole book about to hell with this, to hell with this, to hell with this, to hell with this, and it's not because he likes to point out others' mistakes. It's because he likes to point out others' mistakes so they come to their senses, because this is out of love. That he wants to uplift them. Give up your doggish, attachment to this, to ignorance and passion and illusion, and come over here, to this side. Indra Prabhu says, if lowly Indra Das can do it, then you can do it. Anybody can do it. That was how he was thinking about himself. Indra was a kind of person who, it was like, went up there and you saw him, sitting in Padmasana and gave a darshan and everybody, and had a Guruji smile on his face. And no, we went up there and as you saw Indra was working with a jigsaw and was cutting some wood because working on the bunk beds for the brahmacharis.
Remember.
So he was, down to his the Flintstone outfit, and his,
Yeah. Make a lot of noise at 1 a.m.
a lot of hair full of wood chips and dust, and he had the glasses, that for construction workers, and he goes, that is Indra. That was Indra.
The hammer at 2 a.m. Bam, bam, bam.
It wasn't like, oh, I'm a Brahminical person. I don't touch He says, I'm a low class guy. I'm a worker.
Yeah.
And I love, this is what they need. I will do it.
But he could. I think this was a point he just affected. For me, personally speaking, I saw these things. It was just like acting coming out from him. Because in the other point, he could shift completely. And
this is external.
I think this was just like a way to him
consciousness
to be,
was different. Pundarik Vijnanidhi, was surrounded with all this opulence. But when he heard the verse about Putana getting liberation, he lost it. Yeah. It broke the whole room. And so you might. But Indra was maybe externally, but even this was done for the purpose of serving devotees. This is Vaishnava Seva. The Brahmacharya ashram bathroom, toilet, the local devotees, the Brahmacharyas were not willing to clean it up. They don't do low class work like this, Yeah. They should hire somebody from outside. And it was dirty. You know how it is in this country. And Indra went in there, with acid, and he cleaned everything by himself. And being summer, right now it's 45 Celsius. Next week it's going to be 48, 120, 125 Fahrenheit. And Indra had a lot of heat in his body. He had red hair, Mars, planet Mars, general. Fire, it's got a lot of fire. And being such heat, he had prickly heat, all this pus coming out of his, and then acid got onto it, and it was like cuts and bruises, and he would just sacrifice. He wouldn't care for himself at all. He would just do it,
I remember once.
It was very, how do you say, like jaw-dropping, awe-commanding personality that you saw. That he was real. He was real. He was the self-effulgent person. They say the self-effulgent acharya. Nobody has to tell you. Aindra says, self-effulgent guru. They sound like the constables. Go to the main skid and go. He's a pure devotee. They have to announce to the village or something on the marketplace. No, everybody knows this guy is for real. And Aindra used to tell everybody all the time, be real, be real.
Yourself.
Because most everybody's just fake.
One story once was a Ramanavami, and I came out and then I went to the bathroom. It was around like 10 a.m. and the bathroom was completely dirty. And then I started to wash the bathroom, I started to clean. And then Indra Prabhu, he came. And as soon as he came, he saw that I was cleaning. And he opened and he was so happy. He said, like how many times I have asked the devotees to clean the bathroom and nobody washed the bathroom. You came here washing the bathroom. Congratulations, I'm very happy for you. I'm going now for kirtan for Abhishek. Come, finish here and come. And as soon as I came, the temple was packed. Usually how is Abhishek. And he looked at me and he called me and he made me sit like right next to him,
Wow.
you know, right next to him.
The qualification.
And just because I was washing the bathroom, he allowed me to sit very close to him.
Yeah.
You know, so, yeah.
Because it takes humility. And that is actually what is Mahaprabhu says, the prerequisite of qualification to chant the holy names, Trinada Pisunichena, Sahishna, Manana Manana Kirtanyasa, then you can do Kirtanyasa.
Yeah.
I've seen so many tattoos, Kirtanyasa. Where is the first 3 lines?
Yes.
You know, you hear a lot of kirtans,
Yeah,
but where is the humility?
The humility. There's no humility though. And that's a question that I want to ask you. Because yes, kirtan is to be performed with humility. But something that we see that as much the person do kirtan, sounds like more ego rise. You know, like one thing that I really miss in Indra Prabhu that I don't see anymore.
Because he was real.
You know, like nowadays I see the devotees, Hare Krishna, come, sing with me, try to copy, you know, just a copycat.
Yeah.
But what is the humility? You know, there are some devotees which we see that there is some humility there. For example, I can even talk about myself. You know, I had the chance to spend some time in Vrindavana with Indra Prabhu, with you, with Vrindavana Gopal. And then somehow I could get the fire. And when I'm doing kirtan outside, if you are not playing properly, hey, play properly, you know, like slap. But there's also another point of myself that said, where is my humility? Why I don't teach this devotee how to play proper the kartas so then he can follow me? Why I slap him? I did it many times. Oh, I was arrogant, I was rude. And I forgot that in that body, which is a human being there.
Yeah.
So
they say, Srila Prabhupada said, don't demand respect, but command respect. Command it. Well, if somebody's a personality like Prabhupada, he doesn't have to demand that you have to respect me. No, he doesn't have to. You immediately respect him because his personality commands it.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So when you have that, then and people can take it from you, you see, then you can, I don't say chastise, but be a little strong, or wake up that person, you know?
Yeah.
But this kind of attitude, you know, I'm the authority here and the hot shot, you know, and you guys have to follow me because I'm so much better than you. You know, people will not appreciate it. Nobody will appreciate it. At least the way I see it.
How do you see this new
I'm pretty
generation
arrogant,
of
so
kirtan?
sorry?
How do you see this new generation of kirtanias that are coming, they're playing?
Yeah.
Do you see that they understood the mission, they understood about Shripada?
It's hard to speak in general about everybody under one hat. But I see the tendency, general tendency is, for example, these kirtan melas and these kind of things, indoor kirtan, and like nowadays, like who's gonna lead kirtan, all the names.
The mridanga player.
No, what time, who's gonna sing, and it's like, and everybody's trying to outdo the other person. And it's, you know, it's not what it's all about. The Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan mission is meant to liberate and reclaim the fallen conditioned souls of Kali Yuga. And preaching to the choir, you know, is not going to do that. We have to go out to the streets.
Yeah.
And that is where the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and all of the acharyas is available. That is where it's available. And that was, Aindra Prabhu was fully into that. He says, I'm only here in the temple because we don't have to take the temple to the streets in Vrindavan.
Everybody comes. That's
If
what
people come to the temple here.
Yeah, that's an interesting point because Prabhupada used to say that Krishna Balaram temple is a less intelligent business.
Project, yeah.
Because what is that? You were there, we are doing Harinam Sankirtana, thousands of people are coming, they're listening to the names of Lord, they are getting the books.
It's already established, this is Krishna's birthplace.
Yeah. But if Indra Prabhu were not in Vrindavana, for sure he would be in New York City, in
New York City.
Union Square with Ram Roy doing kirtan there or something like that. Definitely he would be.
Would be with him.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, okay, let's rectify. Ram Roy Prabhu, you would be with Aindra Prabhu, not Aindra Prabhu would be with you.
So, but Aindra Prabhu, he did that.
He was a Babaji.
No,
By the way,
Aindra Prabhu did go to the streets of Kali Yuga, New York City, and he used to go out, 8 hours, 10 hours. He told me, and he had that whole. Everybody knows about that moving temple of his, and that's what he did. He didn't sit in a temple. He didn't try to do 24-hour kirtan department in New York City. It only happened in here in Vrindavana. But the cities of Kali Yuga in the Western countries, or Muslim, whatever it is, we have to go to the streets and preach to the masses, wherever the masses are.
Yeah.
Nowadays, of course, there's a lot of digital, online, social media. It's kind of like a unhealthy society. People live in this virtual reality, which is complete illusion. Instagram and all these things, it's just all fake,
Yeah.
It's all fake. And so it's hard to say a general rule about, the kirtan generation of this, but, I'm not into this kids with the designer beard and kurtas with, paisleys and
sorry to make you
flowers and
yeah.
You don't have a designer beard.
No, it just grows.
It just grows. Mine also grows.
Yeah.
But she it's not very masculine to me. But even if it's just too much decorating the body. It's not really Vaishnava philosophy. And too much overdressing and tattoos and whatnot and earrings. And why do we care so much about the body, and then we try to show off as some kind of big kirtan leader? We have so much love for Krishna, huge loves and everything. And then okay, Chandra, not interested.
You see, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about, in the 18th chapter, he talks about the sannyasi and the tyagi.
Okay.
And Krishna, he says that the tyagi is the one who renounces the fruit of action. And meanwhile, the sannyasi is the one who renounces the clothes, the lifestyle. And we see that Indra Prabhu, as he said once to Kadabakana Maharaj, I'm a Brahmahasta Vanachari, So, what would be your definition about Prabhu, Indra's Prabhu, Brahmahasta Vanachari, mixed with his standard on the philosophy, mean also compared to what ISKCON talks about Babaji or renunciations, or what is your point of view about that?
The way Indra Prabhu dressed, or
everything, the way that he acted, dressed,
I think he was ahead of his age, and I couldn't understand him, and I misunderstood him. And he was one rare personality that happened to be qualified
to do what he was doing.
Yeah, that happened to be qualified, and he could have just dressed normally like everybody else and still be the person who he was, but I had that kind of like rebellious, how do you say, not even rebellious, but rebel against the
to hell, International Society for Rules and Regulations.
He's kind of rebelling against the mindless following of rules and regulations. Srila Prabhupada says we are the Society for Krishna Consciousness, the International Society for Rules and Regulations. Okay, we have to, so Prabhupada said both sides, we have to follow rules and regulations so that there will be fall downs in Sahajaism will be avoided. But at the end of life, you're supposed to, if you follow actually sincerely and steadily, you will come to a higher stage gradually. And so I ended up, and you have to understand the time when Aindra Prabhu was here, early 90s, when you said the word Radharani or Gopi, or these hardliners in ISKCON those days, they're like, oh, what a Sahaja! You couldn't even imagine. So he was kind of like rebelling against it, There's one thing you become a Sahaja, and one thing you become like boycotting any subject, related to Vrindavana. So it's like the other side of the horse, two extremes. Now it has to be balanced. Yeah, it has to be sitting firm of Vaidhi Bhakti, and then when the genuine taste comes, you're riding the waves. You go along with where your heart wants to go. When the heart wants to go, you'll follow it. It's natural. It's a natural process. But they were like, oh no! Even if the idea came up in their own heart, they were like, they're blocking it and boycotting it. This is Sahaja. So Aindra was like proving, no, actually it's not. He was proving this point, because they're this side of the horse, and the other side was like the Sahaja side, And Aindra was trying to bring it back to the balance, And the way he dressed, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati gave Babaji initiation to very few devotees. Srila Prabhupada gave Babaji initiation to one devotee. He fell down, of course, but it's not like it's not our process. Yeah. When Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati came to Radhakund, and all the Babajis, they were thinking, oh, the big Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is coming to Radhakund. Oh, he's going to speak about Rasa Lila, Rasa Tattva. And to frolic them and to teach them, he gave a seminar, a course on Upadesh Amrita. Sri Ishopanishad. Sri Ishopanishad. It's a technical, nothing to do with Radha Krishna Leela, philosophy, because he wanted to show them this is your level. You're artificially trying to, reach to the subject that you're not qualified for.
Oh, it's really beautiful. And
Aindra Prabhu, but after he gave his course, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati told his disciples that Siddha Pranali, Ekadasa Bhav, and Rasa Lila, this is our process. It is our process. But these people have taken it and arrested it, and they claim possession over it, even though they're not qualified. Basically, they're thieves. But actually, this is our process. So it has to be a balance. First, you have to be grounded. You can follow the rules and regulations. If you cannot even follow that, like these Babajis, they cannot follow the basic things, and they claim to be on a high platform. That's bogus. No, you have to be firmly grounded, and then from there, with humility, sincerely and honesty, accepting your situation. I'm a fallen Kali Yuga reject, Kali Yuga product, and from there you have to admit your fallen condition. A lot of problems I see nowadays, many of the youth, they have problems with their father and mother in the childhood. They have childhood trauma. And, they cannot, and as they grow up, they blame everybody around them, for all of their problems and their misgivings, shortcomings. And they refuse to see the problems actually with themselves, And so, with a little, but if you cannot acknowledge and address the problem in yourself, then how will you ever be healthy and have a healthy relationship? So that's what I'm saying. Ego is a big thing. And because of this ego, you cannot give up materialism. And better to be a sincere street sweeper. I'm fallen. I have no. That's was and that's was Indra Prabhu's position. He was always thinking, I'm a lowly Indra Das. Look at my sorry life. He talks like this, and I'm your old dirty dog, Indra. He would talk like this. I'm lower than the dogs in the gutter, and the pigs in the sewage. I'm lower than them. And somehow, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, I'm here. And, and since he gave me the chance, I'm doing my level best, to appreciate his mercy and follow such a great personality.
How was your last meeting with him?
Last meeting with Indra?
When was the last time that you saw him?
I think the last meeting...
March, April 2010?
I remember two things. He was preaching to a bunch of devotees. And I was in the doorway listening, And he turned to me, I don't know why. He says, Govinda, right? I come in, and he was telling me that, this is the problem. That the Brahminical class are the actual leaders of society. But the Kshatriya leaders, like the temple president, they think they're the supreme authority. And they don't take advice from the Brahmanas. That's the structure of society in Vedic culture. That the Brahmanas, they don't take any position of management. They don't take salary. Because as soon as you accept money, you have to parrot the party line. What they expect you to say, you will have to say that. Because if you don't say that, the money will stop coming.
Yeah.
So a real Brahmana doesn't take salary. And is maybe qualified, more qualified than anybody else, or maybe he lives a poor life. And it's a forced poverty, because to them, the freedom to say the truth is more important than being materially comfortable. Okay, so that's the spirit of a Brahmana. And Kshatriyas, they're in a mode of goodness and mode of passion, and they are strong and powerful, and they establish dharma. Okay, but because they have this ambition for power, that's where the mode of passion comes in. So they want to enjoy being the king and etc. etc. And therefore they're in a lower platform from the Brahminical class, and they're dealing with money, they're dealing with women, the feminine energy, all these things. And therefore they have to turn to the Brahmanas for advice. What is the decision that we should make here? Okay, the Brahmana can say the truth, being without any fear. Oh, what is my wife going to say if I say something like this? Or what is the such and such will say and this and that. No, they can say whatever they want, because what's going to happen? Nothing's going to happen. I'm not in managerial position. I can say whatever I want.
So you would say that one of the biggest problem of the society is that the Shudras are in the power and the Brahmanas are doing the work of Shudra.
Definitely. But anyway, so this is what the point Aindra Prabhu was telling me. And it stuck with me. And it's a good point. But I don't know why he called me into the room. And then so I was going back to the West for 3 months or 6 months. And at that point, I wasn't sure if I am going to come back or something. I wanted to supposed to stay for longer. I can't remember what life situation I was going through. So I was doing his puja, And I bow down, I touch his feet. I told him many times I consider him my Shiksha Guru, my spiritual master. He silently approved. He didn't say no. Didn't say anything. Anyway, so I touched his feet, and I was kind of like in tears, I said, Prabhu, we have to go. I'm leaving. I said, please don't forget me. and he says, how can I ever forget you? So that was very sweet and touching. I think that's the last time I saw him.
After that, you came back and you became one of the head of the 24-hour Kirtan. And after this time also you had a son.
Knucklehead.
Ah, okay. So you had a beautiful son,
Yeah.
Rai Govinda.
Yeah. Right.
And he's 4 years old?
Yeah, 5.
5. If you, Govinda, can give the good advice to your son for his spiritual life and for his future. Because he was born in Vrindavana, he's a Vrajavasi. I saw beautiful photos of your son. I'm not so much in touch with you anymore, physically, but I'm always seeing you and your wife posted.
Okay.
And I will tell you something. The photo that you have of your son dressing like Vamanadeva is my favorite one. He's so cute. He's really cute. He's really cute. And if you would like to, actually, I will make one thing with you.
Yeah.
I want you to leave a message to your son, and he will see this message when he's grow up. If you right now in 2024, you could leave a message to him about his spiritual life, about how you want to see him practicing what you had experienced with Aindra Prabhu, what would be that message?
Be independent and stick to the truth only of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. And he already has that nature, so actually I'd have to stress that so much. He's very naughty and very independent. He's very Ekeha Kurunandana,
Jai.
one-pointed intelligence, very intense, very fire. So put your mind into chanting Hare Krishna because everything is there. Take it from me. That's what I got, and I got it from the people who were actually high up there. Aindra Prabhu, Srila Prabhupada. My spiritual master saw Srila Prabhupada when he was paying obeisances in the morning and Govinda Purusham prayers. And Prabhupada got up, he saw Radha Govinda. Maybe not Radha Govinda, but he says he had like 5 feet, 6 feet, tears spraying from his eyes. Prabhupada like spraying. Like, and just like they're like, how is this physically possible? So, Prabhupada, Aindra Das, and every time Aindra Prabhu, he would sing, immediate hair standing in her, faltering voice, and take this holy name, fill your mouth with it in whatever position you are, fill your mind with it, dream with it, think, about it, think with it, because everything is in the holy name. Everything will come from the holy name. Bhakti Thakur says nothing else is important, nothing else is there in the 14 worlds but the holy name. Everything else is illusion.
Yeah.
Everything else is temporary. It will come, it will go. Whatever state of minds we have, it will come and go, lifetime after lifetime. The only thing that stays is the holy name. So Hare Krishna mantra. So Bhakti Thakur says, fill your mouth with the holy name in happiness and unhappiness, sadness, whatever condition you are, and everything you will get from this.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Govinda.
And please,
And please.
please liberate me.
Well, that's what Shastra says, no? We have to bring sons that
Save
will
me,
be
save your
able to
father.
save.
Save your father. If I can do it, you will able to do it.
I think he has.
I saw
He
his
has
chart.
he has amazing father that he can inspire. Be
I saw
inspired.
his chart. He has amazing potential.
Huh?
Yeah, I don't see anything. Time will tell.
Haribol. Thank you very much, Govinda, for coming. Thank you very much for giving
It was
us a
nice
chance.
talking. Always nice talking
Yeah,
about Krishna consciousness.
and as I said, no, like devotees who had the chance to experience it, to experience such a great personality like Indra Prabhu.
Mm.
It's not a cheap thing. You know, it's not a cheap business. It's not something cheap in life. Fortunately, I could take, I could take a little bit of the end of the pot.
Yeah,
I could take.
It's a good fortune and will stay with you.
And it's one thing that I'm grateful is for those experience, those years
Yeah,
with all of you. So thank you very much. And please pray to Shrimati Radharani for blessing us in our service.
always.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai Gurudev.